Hello, I'm Kit. This is Bear. Welcome back. The last video, I told you this would be the last video. Well, I was wrong. I thought there was 43 chapters. There is 53. So we still got a ways to go. Welcome if you're just joining us, and welcome back if you're coming back from the last video. Alright. The last we read, Danny had Patsy on his lap, and he was having her write a song with him. Okay. Ready, he asked. Yes, my master, I replied. Good. He smiled. I was out looking for a one-night stand, he sung. Your girl was just there watching the band, I replied as he said to think of the song I had wrote. Now that's just not gonna work. He laughed. Submit, Patsy, speak free. He said. My heart jumped and I looked to him, unsure as to what to think. He just told me to submit. Darling, I am tired of playing the training game. I, as our people, want my sweetheart back. I have been an ass for long enough, he said. My master, I love you, I told him. I love you. I did what I did. I did what I had to do. I believe you are where you need to be, as in your obedience, he said. Your girl is trained? I asked him. We will find out, will we not? Now speak my name and assume yourself free, he said. There is that assume thing again. I said, worried about it a little too much, I believe. Yes, however, this time you make an ass out of yourself, and that whip will be in my hand and across your backside. I believe you realize this. And know it is to be true, he said sternly. Yes, my master, I replied. He smiled. Now submit. I was out looking for a one-night stand, he then sang again. I was just standing there watching the band, I sang back to him. When I saw you, I just had to say hi. I started laughing as I thought of the training and all the way I loved him, and then finding out he was the Hamburg gigolo and had a girl in every kingdom and village. When you did, I should have said goodbye, I said, laughing. He started laughing. Really now, he said. It rhymes, I told him. That it does, he said and wrote it down. You know I love you. You just will not admit it, he sung to me. You know I love you. I need to be committed, I laughed. We fell in love, that is no doubt. We fell in love, and there is no way out, he sung, then looked to me. Sing that part with me, he said. We started the song from the start until we sung the last part together. I fell in love with you at first sight, he then said, and I thought for a comeback to what he said that would fit the way we were and the song I wrote. You knew you could not make me your wife, I smiled. That hit hard, he said. It is true, I laughed. He thought for a moment. So I gave you the best I could offer, he said, and I thought, and then laughed. That offer was a golden collar. He started laughing. This just sounds wrong, he laughed. It is wrong, as I submitted twice, I told him. However it works, I added. He wrote down what we had said, and we started again from the start of the song. Then we sung the chorus ending again. Let's see, he said, and thought for a moment. As I thought with him, he looked to me. I am lost, he said. That is my line, I laughed, then took the pen and wrote for him. He looked to me. That just is not quite the way it happened, he said. True, however, it sounds good together. Try it, I told him. I took you by the hand, he said, as that is what I had wrote. You gave me a brand, I then said. I heard you holler, he then said, as again that is what I wrote. You gave me that collar, I then said, and again we started from the beginning and sung the chorus again. I took you home, started your training, he said, and I sat there thinking. That is when I found out just how much you were demanding, I said, and he laughed. It was not long before you were breaking, he said, and I laughed. It fit, and as you say, it rhymed. He laughed. I thought for a moment. So does this. Lord, tell me, what was I thinking? I laughed. He looked to me very serious. Come to think about it, what was you thinking when you submitted to me? He asked. How much I love you and could not let you give up your family for me when I knew how much they loved you and our people do? I told him. Did. Now I am the worst man alive, he said, laughing still. They will love you again, I told him. Yes, when they get their sweetheart back. He laughed. I laughed with him, and we sung the song again from the start. Then he looked to me. You are my girl, he said. I smiled, and that warm feeling had returned I received from him. You are my master. We are going to live happily ever after. I smiled, and he kissed me. Hey, I was out looking for a one-night stand, he said defensively. Yes, well, I was only standing there watching the band, I laughed. Think our people will like it, he asked. I think they will get a laugh out of it, I told him. The end of the week, on the 5th, we have a concert. So we will see, he said. You get to put the program together, he then told me. I grabbed him and hugged and kissed on him. I get to be back as I was, I asked. Yes. Welcome back to the world, Patsy Lee, he told me. I have missed it, I told him. He grabbed the guitar and started to play as we sung the song, and the door opened and Mindy came in. As she saw us, she healed. Forgive your girl, my master, my mistress. However, the two of you are usually gone by now, she said, looking from Danny to me, and I laughed. It is the 7th day of the week, my sister, no tavern, I said. Right, she replied. Mindy, you can clean the study. We are going to the studio anyway. Patsy, go get dressed, he told me. I believe Mindy got excited as she heard him say my name. My mistress has a name, she blurted out, and I laughed as Danny gave her a stern look. Mindy, are you forgetting your place, girl? He asked, and she went white. Danny, do not be mean, I told him. Mean? He asked. Yes, mean. She was talking to me, not you, I said in her defense. So that makes a difference? He asked, looking stern to me. If our master says it does, I smirked. He looked from me to her. I am missing something here, he said, and I looked at him with a smile. You once said you would give me anything I want within your means. Will you still? I asked him. You know I will, Patsy, he said. I need a new member of my band. I need someone that can keep the songs and music organized, I told him. Right, and that someone, I suspect and suppose it is Mindy, he asked. You know you are wonderful to suggest such a thing, I told him. Right, and in order for her to have that privilege, she would need a gold collar, he informed me. I smiled. All right. You two meet in my office "Mindy, assist your mistress," he said, and kissed me, and left the study. "I never thought I would see anyone turn him into clay," she said, amused. "What can I say? He loves me," I said. "That he does," she said, and moved into the chambers with me and assisted me in dressing and such. Then we moved down to Danny's office. As we entered, he motioned her over to him. She moved over to him and into a heel. He removed her platinum collar and replaced it with a gold lead collar. "Submit," he told her. "Thank you, my master," she said, and looked at me. "Thank you," she said. "Yes, well, displease me, and I will have him whip you," I laughed. "That will be delightful," she laughed. "Wait," she said. I looked to her. "What?" I asked. "If I am to rouse about with you, who is going to take care of our master's office and study and chambers?" she asked. "I will get," Danny started to say when I spoke up. "We both will," I told her. "Who is the master here, girls?" Danny asked sternly. For a moment I became a little uneasy. Then, as I tested the waters, as it is said, I looked at him, teasing. "You are when we allow it," I asked, and to my relief he started to laugh. "Right," he said, and stood. "I will be in the studio. You will join me soon, or else you will learn I am the master even when you're not allowing it," he said, and moved out of his office. "You do know you are the only female he has ever let lead him about like you do?" she said. "Only because he knows I know not to push him. I am only playing and he is allowing it," I told her. "I have never seen him act as he has this day. I fear he may misunderstand," she told me. He knew me. I knew him as a lover. Now I know him as a master. And I know he loves me. I will not push him or venture too far," I assured her. Together we claimed the study and the chambers. Then we moved to the studio, where Danny and I completed the song and recorded that one, and then the one I wrote the day before. Chapter 43. Things were a lot happier. Danny was once again the Danny Lee I fell in love with. Each morning I would dress, assist Mindy in cleaning the 3 rooms, then her and I with Brian would go to the tavern. She was now serving at the tavern as I was there. She was doing what Sandy used to for me. Then at night, Danny would come and pick us up before the tavern closed. It was the night of the concert. Now, after being on stage for 20 passing years, one would think a person would not be nervous. I found myself very nervous. For some reason, it had been about 3 months since I was on a national stage. "Patsy, you are fidgeting. What is amiss?" Martina asked. "I do not know. I feel like I did the first time Danny pulled me up on the stage. It is crazy, really," I laughed. "You will be all right," she said, and gave me a hug as we heard Alex greet and announce Mike. Then Mike announced Martina. As Martina and Mike sung, Danny came over to me and released my collar. I looked at him blankly. "Forgive me, why are you releasing my collar?" I asked him. "Because I have an idea. I want you to go out in the back of the audience. You will know what is going on then," he said, and I was confused. "Danny, what are you up to?" I asked. I was already nervous, and he was not helping at all, especially after removing my collar. Frankly, I do not know myself. I just had this idea. We will see how it goes. Now out there with you, he said, and turned me to the direction from out of the back of the stage. I moved to where he wanted. I went around the crowd of people to the back and stood watching what was going on and what Danny was up to. Let's give welcome and not harm, Mike said, laughing. To the Heartbreaker, Danny Lee, Mike announced. The band started to play, and Danny ran, sliding out on the stage with my collar in hand, and he started to sing. Then after his first song, he held the collar up to all. All right, last time I was here, on this stage, this very stage, who was here? He asked, and a lot started to cheer and call out to him. Right, and who did you want? Because it was not me, he said. Patsy, they called. Well, I found this collar in the back. Know who it might belong to? He asked, and you heard laughter and my name called again. I found her collar, so you think perhaps she ran off? He teased with the people. They yelled out no, and then my name. Well, why do I hold this collar then? He said to the people. Come on, darling, jump in at any time. Come up with something, I heard him say silently in my head, and I was really lost for what to say or even do. Anyone want this collar? He asked, and I walked up the mid-aisle. You poor heartbreaker, I do, I said, and the people looked to me and started to cheer. You want it? He asked as I made my way to the stage. Yes, I want it, I said. Why would you want it? He asked. It is mine, I told him, moving closer. If it is yours, then why do I have it? He asked. Because you removed it, I told him. Oh, well. Are you free then? He teased. I gave myself to you in the front of the Lord and all, and then you gave me a rose brand. I cannot be freed ever again, I laughed. I moved up on stage. Do you want to be? He asked. Never in your wildest dreams, I said, and he leaned to kiss me, and the crowd cheered, and around my neck he replaced the collar. Now keep it on, he said sternly. Right. Cease removing it, I told him. Are you telling me what to do, girl? I laughed. My master, tell everyone what you were doing when you first met me, I said, and the band started the music. I was just looking for a one-night stand, he sung. I was just standing there watching the band. I then replied, singing. When I saw you, I just had to say hi, he said, taking my hand. When you did, I should have said goodbye. I sang and acted as if I was walking away. He grabbed my arm and swung me around back to him. You know I love you, you just won't admit it, he said as I faced him. You know I love you. Lord, I need committed, I said, and the people you heard laugh at what we were singing. We fell in love, and that is no doubt. We fell in love, and now there's no way out, we sung together. Danny then danced around me. You know I fell in love with you at first sight, he sung. Maybe so, however you knew you couldn't make me your wife, I sung. Well, I gave you the best I had to offer, he sung as we danced. That offer was a golden collar, I sang in a cry as if it was just the bad thing. You know I love you, you just won't admit it, he then sung. You know I love you, I ought to be committed, I then sang. We fell in love, and that's no doubt. We fell in love, now there is no way out. We both sang, and the people cheered and laughed as they listened. He grabbed my hand and swung me out from him. I took you by the hand, he then sang. As if I could not believe what he was saying, I sung, You gave me a brand, I said, acting as if breaking from him. I heard you holler, he said with a laugh in his voice. And I sung, "Then you gave me this collar," I said, motioning to my neck. "I took you home and started your training," he told me, singing. "Yes, sir, and I found out just how much you're demanding," I sang to him. "You know I love you, just won't admit it." He then sang again, "You know I love you, dear Lord, I need committed," I sang as I placed my arm on my head. "You are my girl," he said, pulling me into his arms. And I smiled and looked up to him. "You are my master," I sang. "We are happy ever after." We both sang and everyone cheered. "I was just out looking for a one-night stand," he told me. "I was just standing there watching the band," I replied, and the music ended and all cheered. We then went into another song, and after two more, everyone came out, and we all sang the last song, then bid all farewell. I was so happy once again. I was so happy once more, back on the stage and doing the setups for the performance. And back at the tavern, things seemed back to how they were. It was the last day of the week and no tavern. I was sitting in the garden when Mindy came out and over to me. "Practice with me," she said, and I looked to her. "You want to learn to play the guitar or sing?" I laughed. "No, Patsy, you need to learn offense and defense," she told me. "I am a singer, not a fighter," I laughed. "Come on, Patsy," she said, and I stood and looked to her. Then we started to practice. I was getting better, and we were practicing, mind you. However, two guards came rushing out and pulled us apart. I screamed as they grabbed me. "This will be enough. You two will be taken to Prince Peter and can explain why you are fighting." I blinked and almost laughed. "We are not fighting," I said. "Silence, girl." The guard snapped, and they had to be new at the palace. "I am Patsy, kitten of Prince Daniel," I told them. "Then you will be taken to Prince Daniel," the guard said, and pulled me and Mindy harshly into the palace. As we entered the gathering, where Danny and the others were, the bone-headed guard threw me and Mindy into the room. These two were fighting in the garden. "We were not fighting, you moron," I screamed to him. "Enough," I heard Danny say, and snapped his fingers, and I healed silently. "First of all, what is your name?" Danny asked the guard. "John Dexter, Your Highness," he replied. "And John, how long have you been in this palace?" Danny asked him. "This is my first week, Your Highness." "All right, so what planet was you on before this one? Or before then?" Danny asked, and Scott and Emmett started to laugh. "Pardon me, Your Highness? I do not understand," the guard said. "The kitten you just so kindly tossed into this room, do you not know who she is?" he asked him. "She is a collared female in a fight with another," he said. And I wanted to slap this man, yet I found I could not move as Danny had ordered, and I knew I had best not. "Do you know who Patsy Lee is?" Danny asked. "Yes, Your Highness," he said, and I believe the man just was untruthful. "So why are you feeling the need to toss her about?" Danny asked, and again the others laughed. The guard then looked more closely to me. "Patsy Lee?" he said, stunned, and I said nothing, as I could not. Danny had canceled my submission. "Forgive me, Your Highness," the guard said to Danny. "Now you said they were fighting. John, my kitten, and her servant would not have been fighting," Danny said, and then turned to me. "What was the two of you doing?" Danny asked. "Practicing my master," I answered. "Why were you doing this in the garden?" he then asked, as he waved the guards back out. "Forgive us, my master," I replied. "That is not answering me. Come here," he said sternly, and I crawled over to him and healed, and he backhanded me. To my surprise, I became scared. and looked up to him as he snapped his fingers. Please forgive your girl, my master. Mindy asked to practice. Your girl knew not to do so in the garden, I said, starting to cry. Mindy, you fetch your whip, Danny said sternly. Mindy moved quickly to the whip and over to Danny, offering it up. He took it and snapped it, and Mindy knelt. Please discipline your courtesan, my master, Mindy cried, and he struck her 3 times. I cringed. You know better. Go to your chamber.